Good evening, everyone. The week is coming to an end, and if there's one thing that really marked this week, it is a clear signal from India that it's not going to be really backing down in front of China, and a number of steps taken to, in a sense, push back very strongly and to signal that steps will be taken to counter the Chinese threats. Now, of course, we all heard about that ban on Chinese apps. We had the Prime Minister flying to Leh and to Ladakh and talking to soldiers out there. We've seen a number of defense equipment being ordered, including MiG-29s and additional Sukhoi 30s and missiles. And now there's another report which potentially is really, really interesting. And it's a report in the Times of India which talks about the fact that India is about to significantly upgrade its facilities in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And I want to talk about this because this, frankly, is something that is long overdue. If you're confronted by any adversary, you should try and figure out what is it that adversary or that enemy will fear the most. What is the weak point? Because that's where you should really be positioning yourself. Now look at a map of Asia. Look at where the greatest vulnerability for China is. It's in the Straits of Malacca. A large number of Chinese ships travel through the Straits of Malacca. There are other routes available, but this is the route that most Chinese ships take to come into the Indian Ocean. And look at the mouth of the Straits of Malacca. What do you see there? Indian territory, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Every single base that India has on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands is like an unsinkable aircraft carrier. Look, for example, at the very south of that. Look at Campbell Bay, or INS Bars as it's called. Now, there's talk that India is going to be extending the runway out here. Look at our Sukhoi 30s out here on INS Bars. Sukhoi 30s with anti-ship BrahMos missiles, and Chinese ships having to cross that to get into the Indian Ocean. Look further north. There's Car Nicobar, there's Port Blair. These exist. Now, there's talk about India putting a 10,000-foot runway, according to the Times of India report, on Kamorta Island, which is just north of Campbell Bay. There's already an airstrip on the very north of the entire chain in Kohasa. And there's talk now about that runway also potentially being extended. And this is all really a very good idea, and that's why it's been widely welcomed by the strategic community. Because if India actually expands its capabilities here on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, has the ability to station more forces out here, then that really gives the Chinese, or any other adversary for that matter, something to think about. So a long overdue move, which is presumably coming to pass, to cap a week where a number of other steps were also taken. Well, let's now quickly bring you up to date with all the big stories of the day.
India recorded its steepest single-day spike of over 22,000 COVID-19 cases on Saturday. According to the Health Ministry data on Saturday morning, 22,771 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours, taking the country's COVID count close to 6.5 lakh. 442 new fatalities were recorded in the same period, pushing the virus fatalities to 18,655. On the bright side, close to 4 lakh people have recovered so far from the contagion.
Amid a surge in novel coronavirus cases in the country, Kolkata Airport said that no passenger flights will land in the West Bengal capital from 6 cities between July 6th and July 19th. The Kolkata Airport said on Twitter that flights from Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Pune, Nagpur and Ahmedabad have been barred. India resumed its domestic passenger flights from May 25th after a hiatus of 2 months due to the coronavirus-induced lockdown. Scheduled international passenger flights are still suspended in India.
The Karnataka government has decided to clamp a 33 hours long lockdown in capital city of Bengaluru and adjoining areas. The lockdown is aimed at cutting the chain of COVID-19 transmissions in the region, will begin at 8 p.m. on Saturday and will end at 5 a.m. on Monday. Only essential services will be permitted to operate during the long period, and those found roaming around will be liable for police action. The lockdown decision is part of a multi-pronged strategy adopted by the state government to contain the spread of the disease. The Indian Council of Medical Research on Saturday justified expediting clinical trials of a promising indigenous COVID-19 vaccine being developed by Bharat Biotech International Limited. The apex medical body said on an ambitious timeline for India's first potential coronavirus vaccine that in the larger public health interest, it is important for ICMR to expedite clinical trials with a promising indigenous vaccine. The ICMR on Friday wrote to select medical institutions and hospitals to fast-track clinical trial approvals for the coronavirus vaccine candidate Covaxin being developed in collaboration with Bharat Biotech, which it plans to release on August 15th.
For the last few weeks, India's novel coronavirus numbers are being powered mainly by the surge in 4 southern states of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, the Indian Express has reported. All the 4 are now in the top 10 list of states with maximum caseload in the country and are the only states where the coronavirus cases are growing at a rate faster than the national growth rate. While Maharashtra continues to contribute to the maximum number of new cases every day, its rate of growth is still slow. 4 southern states, on the other hand, are contributing large numbers and have a high growth rate as well, the report added. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases globally surpassed 11 million mark on Saturday as various countries recorded their highest 24-hour surge, including India, US, South Africa and Mexico. As per the latest figures by Johns Hopkins University, the infections tally reached 11,45,713, while the death toll was at 5,23,898. US stays at the top of the worst affected list, while Brazil is second with over 1.5 million positive cases. Japan on Friday expressed hope for a peaceful resolution of the ongoing standoff between Indian and Chinese troops and asserted that it opposed any attempts to change the status quo on the LAC. New Delhi has briefed Tokyo regarding the situation on LAC following the major shutdown between Indian and Chinese troops last month in Galwan Valley area. Following the face-off, India has said that Chinese troops attempted to unilaterally change the status quo during the de-escalation.
A large number of Indian Americans living in New York and New Jersey staged a protest against China at the iconic Times Square. They chanted various patriotic slogans and demanded an economic boycott and a diplomatic isolation of the country for its aggression against India. The protesters, wearing face masks in view of the coronavirus pandemic, held placards paying tributes to the Indian soldiers killed in clashes with Chinese personnel in Ladakh. Members of the Tibetan and Taiwanese community also joined the protest and raised slogans against China and called for an economic boycott of the communist giant.